Okay, so here are the built-in mobile apps. These are applications that are already installed in your phone. This can be like Apple or Android or even Samsung devices. So first we're gonna start off with Apple. So the first application that we have here is FaceTime. You are able to use FaceTime on your phone during Wi-Fi or your cellular data. In order to do this, you need to make sure that your FaceTime is turned on. And to do this, you can go on your home screen and you can then tap on the FaceTime icon, which is actually showed right here above, the green with the little camera. And then you would toggle onto it and then you can click on it and that's where you'll be able to open up the FaceTime. There are actually two ways to make a FaceTime call. So you need to make sure that you remember that the person that you want to make a FaceTime to has an Apple device. If they have like an Android device or any other type of device, it's going to say that the FaceTime call is not available. Okay, so the way that you can make a FaceTime call is through your apps, through your contact app or the phone app. So here on the screen, it shows you that you can click on the FaceTime. And then once their name appears, like it'll show you a screen where you can see yourself and it will let you know that it's connecting right up top. Okay, so the other method that you can do is also go directly through the FaceTime app. And if you don't have the contact saved of who you're trying to make the call to, then you can enter their number, or if you've recently called them through FaceTime, then right here it would show like their contact information, their name, and their phone number. And like I mentioned, once you go ahead and click on one of them that's listed, then it'll show you at the top that it says connecting. And immediately after, once they pick up your call, then you should be able to see the person and also hear them. Okay, so the next application that we have is the messages. So in the messages app, you can send text messages like as an SMS or MMS, which it uses your cellular service. Through iMessage, it actually can use Wi-Fi or your cellular data with people that also have an Apple device, like an iPhone, an iPod Touch, or a tablet or a Mac. So once you see these messages, they don't count against like the allowance that you have on your cellular messaging plan. But certain ones do, like the SMS or the MMS. And when you're on these messages, you can send different types of like files, you can send photos, videos. You can also share notes with people that also have Apple products. And just to let you guys know, for security, the messages sent using iMessages are encrypted. And another cool thing that distinguishes what kind of product, like what kind of product that the other person has on iMessage is the blue bubbles will be for someone who also has an Apple product, or the green bubbles that you receive, they will be green, and that shows that that person has like an Android or is using an SMS text. Okay, so here, this is how you can enable your iMessage. You can go to your settings and then you go to messages, and then from there you could sign into iMessages using your Apple ID, which usually consists of your email address and a password. And a cool thing about being able to register to use these applications is if you sign in on one Apple product that you have, let's say your smartphone, you can then use that same Apple ID for your MacBook, and you will get those same messages on your MacBook and your iPhone at the same time because you're using the same account. So here a little bit more down, it goes into details about how you can sign in. If it's your first time, like I mentioned, you can use your Apple ID email and password. And then if you've signed in before and want to use a different Apple ID, you could go to on the settings, messages and preferences. Then you could click on iMessage and then click sign out. And then you would repeat that process of signing back in. Okay, so the next app that we'll be going over is Safari. Safari is the app that comes with your iPhone. This is gives you the ability to browse the web. That's kind of like Google. You can add pages to your reading list where you can read them later. You can also add those specific web pages onto your home screen so they're easily accessible to you if you constantly use a certain web page. You can also sign in to your iCloud using that Apple ID that we just talked about on multiple devices. So then you can have access to all of these web pages that you save or you have bookmark or your history of them. It'll show up on all of your devices that you use this one Apple ID on. So to view websites within Safari, this is how it looks on the right side when you would first open up the app. In order to get back to the top, like if you're scrolling down, reading an article or going through a web page, you can click anywhere here at the top and then double tap, and it will return you back to the very top of that web page. To see more of the page, you can turn your device in a landscape orientation, which will allow you to see like more of that page instead of the screen being a little bit more compressed in the vertical orientation. Also, you can refresh the page by pulling down from the top of the page, and this will reload that whole web page that you're on. At the bottom, it will also show you a little button where it looks like it's sending something with the little arrow going up. You can share links with people. You can send them through text message or email, and they will be able to access that same web page that you are on. Okay, to preview some website links, you are able to touch and hold a link in Safari to see a preview of links without opening the page. So here on the right side, it kind of shows you an example of how they're able to do that. It just gives you like the top part of the web page. It doesn't really show you much detail. Then to open the link, you can choose open, or you can open it in a new tab, and it gives you some other options here that you can kind of do with that one tab. Another cool thing about Safari is whenever you encounter a web page that's in a different language, Safari is able to translate the text for you that you have as a default language set on your device. Another thing is you can also make the font size bigger. So then you would tap the font size icon, which would look like it would say double A, and then tap on the translate icon, which is two message bubble icons, and it will show you if the translation is available there for you. Okay, so now we'll be doing Apple and Android, kind of comparing and contrasting the two, the way that both of them look. So right here is the phone. This is the way that the icon will look on your Apple device, the green and then the little white phone. And to start a call in the phone app, you could dial the number on the keypad, tap a favorite or recent call, or choose a number in your contacts list. So on the right side here, you can kind of see the keypad. At the bottom, it shows you these different options that you have: the favorites, the contacts, the keypad. You can also use a different line but this is only if your phone has a dual SIM. Then you could tap the line at the top and then choose a line. I think it says primary there. And then you could enter the number using the keypad. So once you start entering a number in the keypad, there will be a little X at the bottom that will appear up in case you make a mistake and you want to go back. And a cool thing too is you can redial the last number that you called just by tapping the little green phone icon. Okay, so also you can paste a number that you've copied. You could tap the phone number field above the keypad and then you can press paste. You can enter a soft 2-second pause, which would touch and hold the star key until a comma appears. You could also do a hard pause to pause dialing until you tap the dial button. And you would do this by touching and holding the pound key until a semicolon appears. You can also make international calls. You would hold the 0 button until the little plus would come up. And then you can also ask Siri to redial the last numbers or return to your last call, but this option is only available on iPhones. Once you're on the call, you could see a little red button. It's a circle and it has a phone but facing a down position. That would be to end the call. Okay, so we also have the App Store or the Google Play Store. The App Store, which is the icon on the left, is for iPhone, and then the icon on the right is the Google Play Store, which is usually for Android devices. So how to get to these apps? You could open up the App Store. You are able to browse and search for a specific app, or you can go through hundreds of thousands of different apps that are available. And on the Apple products, you are able to find a game that says arcade on it. You can subscribe to Apple Arcade and play the game. Um, you don't have to do that. It's kind of more of an option where if you're wanting to record records or things like that. Some of the apps will have a price on them. Not all of them will be free. So if you see that, you can click on the open button instead of the price, or get button if you've already bought and downloaded that specific app. In the App Store, if an app has a get or install button instead of a price, that means that the app is free. You won't be charged for downloading or using the app. And some free apps do offer like in-person in-app purchases and subscriptions that you can apply to. And then that would give you access to features or more content, and it really depends on what kind of app you're using. If you can't download any apps because your payment method was declined, that means you would have to either change or update your payment method. And if there's any problems, like you're having trouble with downloading the app that's over the 200 megabytes over cellular service, then you can open up the app settings and then you would go to App Store. From there, you would go to app downloads and then tap always allow. And that should kind of give you access to be able to download an app using your cellular service if you're not able to, if you don't have access to Wi-Fi. So next is the calculator app. In the calculator app, you can perform like basic arithmetic calculations with the standard calculator, or you can use the scientific calculator for like exponential, logarithmic functions. So on an iPhone, you are also able to ask Siri, like, what's 74 times 9? Or what's 18% of 225? And right here on the right side, it shows you the basic calculator. But if you want to use a scientific calculator, you would have to rotate your device to the landscape orientation, and then more advanced buttons will appear. So next on the calendar, you can create and edit events on your smartphone or any device that you're using. On the iPhone, you can also use Siri, and she can set up meetings for you. She can input like certain reminders for you to remind you of, you say, let's say you have a meeting or you have an appointment somewhere. So here is how the calendar would look on an iPhone. You're able to view list of events with this icon right up here, or you can change the calendars if you have multiple accounts that are synced onto your calendar app. And also, people can send you invitations to certain events you can accept or decline. And then this will automatically be put into your calendar and remind you of that event. So for the camera, you can open the camera from the lock screen. This is specifically on an iPhone. You would swipe left on your lock screen, or you can also tap the camera icon, which is shown right up here. It's this gray icon with the camera inside, and that will be located on your home screen. You can also ask Siri to open up the camera for you. And just for security purposes, a green dot will appear at the top right corner of the screen when your camera is being used. So the camera does come with different types of modes. You can record videos, you can do time-lapse videos of motions over a long period of time. You can do slow motion videos, which kind of gives this slow motion effect onto any videos that you take. You can take panoramic landscapes of views, or if you're having a large group, you can take portrait videos, which apply a depth of field effect on your photos. You can also do a cinematic option or even a square option, which it kind of makes the screen look a little bit more squared. And this is just because you can upload these pictures onto Instagram right away. So that's a cool feature there. And now moving on to the clock. So on the world clock, you can tap on the clock app from your home screen, and then it should either come up on the bottom or at the top. It will say world clock. And once you choose that one, you can go ahead and go down to where the plus button is, and a search field would come up with a list of different cities, or you can search for a specific city, and then you can scroll through that list and go ahead and add it onto your main page, which is shown at the right here. And it will show you the city, how many hours it's ahead or behind. It can also show you the current time and even sometimes the weather. So from the same clock app, it will have an alarm clock available to you. So you can also ask Siri here to open up an alarm or create an alarm for you. And on the right side, it shows you here from an iPhone. You can open the clock app, then the alarm tab, and then here you can input the time, whether you want it AM, PM, if you want it to repeat. If you want to put a label on it, just remind you to give you like a little note that tells you what the alarm is for, what kind of sound, and if the snooze option is available. After this, you would click on the save button, and then that you would see that the alarm is already automatically set and ready to go. So on the same clock app that we are talking about, you can also have a stopwatch available to you. To switch to the stopwatch tab, it would be right at the bottom for an iPhone. And this will allow you to, it would give you a lap or a start button. You can, once you push start, that button will actually turn to stop. So then you can like keep track of various events at once you click the lap, or you can stop the timer altogether. You can also reset it if you want to start over. But yeah, this is all within the same clock app. So it also gives you a timer option. It kind of seems similar to the alarm, but on this one, so to choose the alarm sound, you can, on an iPhone, tap when the timer ends. scroll through the list that are available to you, and then you would click on the sound that you want. You can also buy more tones if you don't like the ones that are already installed in the phone. And then on an Android, you would tap the three vertical circles in the top right corner and then tap set timer sound. So you can kind of create like different sounds for this. And then here you can like scroll to how many hours or minutes or seconds, and then you would click on the start button at the bottom. You're also able to pause the timer or to resume to keep that timer going. And if you click on cancel, that will completely turn off the timer. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the live demo. Okay, so here are some of the apps that we have that we just reviewed. The first one that I wanna go to is FaceTime. This is how the FaceTime app looks when you first open it up. Like we mentioned, there will usually be some names if you had already made previous FaceTime calls to someone. But if you wanna do a new FaceTime, you would click this green button here. And then any suggested contacts would come up, or you can put in either a new phone number or an email address that is registered to someone that has an Apple product as well. So we can also go to the App Store. Okay, this is what the App Store looks like when you first open it up. You can scroll down to see some of the top apps right now, tips, and it shows you just different categories that you can go through. At the bottom, you'll see that it says today, games, apps, arcade, or search. If you click on search, you can go ahead and it'll show you some that you've already maybe searched up, like if you searched up an editor app or a puzzle game. There's also suggested based off of like the searches that you've made in the past. And then next would be the Safari app. So once you open up the Safari app, this is kind of what it looks like. It'll give you any favorites that you have at the top, a privacy report, anything that you have already saved to your reading list. I'm gonna go on Google really quick just to show you guys how you guys can share at the bottom. You can share a web page. Like I'm using my MacBook at the moment, so it allows me to automatically share it with my MacBook, people that are around me. I can send this web page through message, mail. I can share it on social media, add it to my notes. And then it gives me some options here where I could copy, I could print this page. Also, I can add a bookmark or favorite, and then that option that says add to home screen, that is where you would go if you wanted to add this Google web page onto your home screen, so it's easily accessible to you, and it will show up like an app icon. And then also, if we're scrolling down, at the top where right under where it says the time, where it says Google, you can double tap there and it'll automatically take you back to the top. And then if you want to see all of the tabs that you have available at the bottom of the screen on the right side, you could see that there's like two little squares layered on top of each other. And then that will show you all of the tabs that you have available, that you have open at the moment. So you would be able to scroll through those, or at the bottom left side, you could see that there's a plus that would open up a new tab for you. And again, it will take you back to those favorites, that privacy report, reading lists, all those types of things. And just for reference, also here is the clock. So when we open it up, it shows you the world clock. These are some of the times that I have saved already, but you're also able to edit the ones that you have if you want to remove some. At the right side, that plus sign that you can see is where you would search for the city that you're looking for. And it kind of gives you the beginning of like the start of all the cities in alphabetical order. So you can scroll through those, or you can also search at the top. I'm going to push cancel. We can go to alarm. I have a lot of alarms set up, but here you can see the alarms that are available to you that you've already set in the past. But as you guys can see here, all of these have like a white circle that it kind of looks like it's a switch. So I can just click on one of them, and then now it has moved to the right and it's green. That means that that alarm is already set, and tomorrow morning at 7:20 a.m. that alarm will go off. At the top right, where that plus sign is again, you're able to create an alarm. The stopwatch here, like how we went through, the lap is available, the start time, and then the timer. You could do 5 minutes. You can scroll through these and go through all the minutes, the hours, the seconds. And then when the timer ends, it'll allow you to click to choose a sound. So you can go through the many sounds, like how I mentioned, that are already here. At the top, if you guys can see, it says download all purchased tones or the tone store, and that's where you could get some new tones if, again, if you don't like the ones that are already available there, or if I know that a lot of people like to do maybe songs, so they'll buy like a portion of the song, and then that'll be their ringtone. So that's another cool option there. So yeah, that is the end of the presentation, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys have any questions or comments of anything next. Thank you.